Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Welcome into the Steelers Talk Live Show. I am your host, Jack Sperry. Coop's still waving his towel. Coop, how we doing on this beautiful Thursday afternoon? This is Steelers Talk Live.
I am doing well. I can't wait. We have a lot of Steelers topics to get to today.
We've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today for sure. Of course, Senior Bowl week. We're seeing all the top players in the country compete against each other. And, I think that the Steelers are probably honing in on defensive tackle and wide receiver. That's what Tomlin and Art and all the people have been really honing in on. But I'm very excited about this draft class that hopefully Omar Khan is going to put together this year. And I'm excited about the offseason as well, man. There's a lot of really good opportunities for this team to get better.
Steelers have a chance to get better.
Absolutely. Okay, so today's show. First up, today's Steelers news and rumors. We've got some stuff on Tee Higgins. We got some stuff on a big trade that could be coming for the Steelers. A bunch of stuff in that segment. Then we get into our free agency targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Every single position of need, I'm going to let you guys know all the top guys at all those positions that the Steelers can consider. And then today is the day, Coop, I get my first full 7-round Steelers mock draft. I'm going to be unveiling that in our third segment today. So make sure you guys stick around to see who I have the Steelers taking with their 7 selections in this year's NFL draft.
It's a doozy.
It is a doozy for sure. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon and make sure you guys get down there in the comment section and let me know who is here. We've got 69 people in the chat
Very
right
nice.
now. Who's all in the chat? I see Brock Walker is in there. We got Boxy. We've got Kevin Reed. We've got Xavier White. Chuck Dugan is here. Pizza is Goated is here. Who else is here? Let us know in the chat. We got Mike G. We got Offsides Edits. We got something I can't pronounce, but he says sup. What's up, my man? We got Donna Elliott. Donna! It's good to see you. Donna, we got your Cashapp, I think, last week, Monday, and we didn't put it on the show. So, Donna, if you actually want to put up a Venmo alert right now for her. So, Donna, I'm sorry. I apologize. You put in $10. We'll also spin the wheel for you, Donna. We didn't do that for you last week when you sent in your Cash App, so I want to apologize. But thank you for showing up again today. We got Christopher Domingo. We got Tremaine Terry. We got Steeli, my man in the chat. What's up, Steeli? We got Pat Lepla here. Good to see you, Pat. We got Sade Mays. We've got Jay. We've got a bunch of great Steelers fans in the chat. Of course, we got Cassie, both my lovely girlfriend as well, in the chat right now. We got NFL Today in here. Donna Elliott says, cool. There it is, $10. Donna Elliott bringing in the Cash App. So thank you so much, Donna. Sorry we didn't put it on the show last week. That's on me. So without further ado, let's spin the wheel for you here, Donna. So Coop's got the wheel. And we've got a bunch of different items on there. We got jumping jacks, we got push-ups, we've got a boot ×3 on there as well. Got a Here We Go Steelers, push-ups, all this great stuff. So let's spin that wheel for Donna Elliott right now for that $10 Cash App. Let's go. Let's get this party started off right here, Coop. Oh, we're getting it started with jumping jacks. Here we go. Coop, give those shout-outs in the chat while I do these jumping jacks.
1, 2, 3.
4,
shout out Mike G.
5,
shout out
6,
Cassie.
7.
Shout out George.
8,
Boxy.
9.
What's
10,
good?
11,
12, 13, 14, 15,
16, 17, 18, 19,
19,
20. There we go. Getting the blood flowing to start today's show. Pause. And we will get into our content here in just a second.
Oh, man.
But before we get into all the great stuff that we're going to give you guys today in terms of the Steelers content we have in store, let's have a word from our sponsors here. First up, Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. It's just for that first purchase, guys. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. And then our other sponsor today is Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. So that's an interesting way Coop spelled super there. We got the super in there.
Yeah, that's on Coop.
So F Coop in the chat for that. But
I have dyslexia. Sue me.
if you guys want to get on the show today, you can super chat, S-U-P-E-R. There we go, Coop. You can super chat to get on the show. If you have a topic that you want me and Coop to discuss, if you want me to give my take on Justin Fields versus Russell Wilson, if you want my take on Mike Tomlin and whether or not the Steelers should fire him, even though they're not going to, if you want my opinion on any Steelers topic that you want, all you have to do is send in a super chat today, any dollar amount. It can be $1, $2, $5. Doesn't matter, and I'm gonna answer your question live for you right here on the channel. So here's our donation menu today, guys. Any super chat, you're gonna get on the show, plain and simply. $1, $2, $5, doesn't matter. We're gonna give love to anybody that donates money to this channel, plain and simply. $5, we'll do a Here We Go Steelers chant for you. $10, we'll spin the wheel for you guys. We spun it for Donna Elliott for putting in a $10 super chat. If you do so as well, we'll spin it for you. If you put in a 20, not only do you get 3 wheel spins, but I have to do 10 push-ups for you guys live on camera here on Steelers Talk. So get these things going, man. Let's have some fun here on a Thursday. You guys can also send in your money via Venmo, Cashapp, and PayPal. YouTube takes a huge percentage of the super chat dollars that you guys send in, guys. So if you send in your money via Venmo, Cashapp, or PayPal, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Because we get to keep more of that money to improve our graphics, to improve our office space, to improve our equipment, all the stuff that makes this channel possible. It's all thanks to you guys. So if you want to send in a donation, you guys can send in a super chat, or you guys can donate to @Jack-Sperry, # Captain Jack 19 on Cash App, or @Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. Thank you guys so much for all of your support.
Was 19 your college number?
19? Yeah, it was one of my college numbers. And when I made my Cash App, I was number 19.
Love it.
So that's why I was. I used to play baseball. For those of you that don't know, I used to play
submarine pitcher.
Used to play baseball as a submarine pitcher, as a lefty. Yes, if you guys didn't know that, fun fact. But here's our Black Diamonds, guys. These are the people that have put in at least $500 total in donations on one singular live show, or they've had their sticker donated to them by generous benefactors, let's call them, like Platinum 666 or Kurgan Cold. These are the people that show up every single show. These are the people that are always here supporting the Steelers, supporting me and Coop, supporting Steelers Talk. And if you guys want to be a Black Diamond today, I know $500 is a lot of money, but you also get that customized Super Chat sticker that goes next to your Super Chats every time you donate to the show. We greatly appreciate you guys, so make sure you click that subscribe button, make sure you like the stream, and make sure you join us for every single Steelers Talk live show, because the next time someone donates a sticker, you might be in the next Black Diamond. So I will also implore you guys to go check out our NFL Draft channel. We just started doing extensive original content on our NFL Draft channel. It's me and Tom Downey. We are the two lead NFL Draft analysts here at Chat Sports. And this week, I've been putting out videos every single day breaking down the winners and losers from Mobile, Alabama, where I break down the winners and losers from Senior Bowl practices. We got some really great stuff coming up on there, guys. Full first-round mock drafts from both me and Tom. We got in-depth prospect analysis. We've got
some psychos.
We've got some psychos. Sperry Psychos of the Day is the new segment that we're doing on that channel as well, Coop. So you guys can check that out if you want more videos from me and you want to see my face a little bit more. I don't know why you would, but if you do, you guys can find us on the NFL Draft channel. Also, you can follow me on X for NFL Draft content and Steelers content all throughout the 2025 offseason. Again, you can find me there at Jack_Sperry. And you guys can find us here at Steelers Talk on IG at SteelersCS. If you want a daily blast of short-form Steelers content on IG, you can follow us at SteelersCS to support the show. All right, we're about to get into our first segment right now, but we're at 90 people watching live. I want to get to at least 30 likes before we get into our first segment here, guys. So I'm going to give some shout-outs here to the people that like the show. Make sure you type me down there in the comments if you've liked the show. We've got Fisher Productions. We got Ben. We got Pizza is Goated. We got Johnny Valencia. We've got Ben. We've got Christopher Domingo. The Gabe Zero. We've got Thick Clappa. My man, Thick Clappa. Good to see you. We got Coach T's Corner. We've got Kevin Reed. We've got Terry Reed. We've got FJ.
They related?
I don't know, maybe. We got Austin Reek. Man, Austin Reek. Love it. We got Brock Walker in here. Brock's always showing the love, man. I absolutely love. Brock is here every single show. He is like the first one that's here every single show. So appreciate your support. We got Mike G in here. We've got, of course, Cassie, my girlfriend's in the chat. We got a bunch of good Steelers fans in here, man. Just past 30 likes. Thank you guys so much. So on today's show, we got the latest news and rumors surrounding the black and gold. We've got free agency targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. And then also, I got my first Steelers mock draft of the 2025 draft season for you guys. 7 rounds, no trades. Can't wait to share that with you guys. But first, let's get into the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Today on Steelers Talk, we've got a bunch of news and rumors to cover for you guys surrounding the black and gold. First up, there's a new report that the Steelers, quote-unquote, love Tee Higgins and are willing to pay him a bag to bring him to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then Julian Edelman, former Patriot great slot receiver, roasts Mike Tomlin's defense. I'm going to tell you why he's right. And then also, we'll finish up today's show with a cornerback trade target that has now emerged as a potential option for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2025 offseason. Before we get into it today, make sure you go follow me on X if you haven't already. Daily Steelers updates, also doing a bunch of NFL draft analysis up on my Twitter, guys. So if you want that daily dose of NFL draft and Steelers news content, you can find me at Jack_Sperry. Okay, now let's get into the first topic today, which is Tee Higgins, all right? And it's a big topic, both physically and, literally and figuratively, because obviously Tee Higgins is a big wide receiver, but this move would just be massive for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they can add him to this offense. Andrew Filipponi reported today that Pittsburgh loves Tee Higgins and are willing to give him a bag. This is what he had to say on X earlier today. Rumor, quote, or what do you say, colon, Steelers love Tee Higgins and would be willing to give him more than they were willing to pay Brandon Ayuk in a trade last summer. Could mean as much as $30 million a year. Stay tuned. All right, Pony. Well, listen, man, when it comes to the Steelers' interest in Tee Higgins, I can actually buy this, okay? Mike Tomlin has made no bones about his admiration for the skill set of Tee Higgins, who he calls a quote-unquote goon, all right? And what he means by that is he's a bigger receiver who's super physical, and in order to beat him, you have to be physical back to him, which, of course, lays risk to penalties. We've seen that with Joey Porter Jr. quite a bit throughout the years as he's gone up against Tee Higgins. But Higgins is only 26 years old. You could certainly make an argument that he is good enough to be a legit number one receiver in the National Football League. He's 219 pounds, sitting at 6'4", so really, really big body, great body control down the field. And he's also an underrated route runner, which really makes him, more than just like a Mike Williams, just go down the sideline and catch contested balls. He can get open over the middle of the field, and he can separate versus man coverage, which puts him on a whole nother tier of wide receiver, in my opinion. And, you take a look at the numbers for Higgins throughout the last 4 seasons in Cincinnati. 10 touchdowns this year. I had him in fantasy this year, guys. He was very, very good to the spare dogs, all right, plain and simply. And then, because he's got Jamar Chase on the other side of him, he doesn't really consistently get over 1,000 yards, but he almost got there the last 2 years despite only playing in 12 games. So the average clearly over a first down per reception. He really racked him up this year, 73 catches in just 12 games played. That is a ton of production for a number 2 receiver. And I do want you guys to keep in mind as well that it's going to be very expensive to sign him, okay? Like if you want Tee Higgins, fine. All right, that's fine. You just got to know that you're going to be spending at least a quarter of your free agency money on a guy like Tee Higgins here, who is a legit number 1 receiver, and he's going to want to be paid like it, and there's going to be multiple suitors looking to get his services. I won't be surprised if he gets over $30 million a year. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets close to $33, $34 million per season from a team like the New England Patriots. So the Steelers are going to have to pay up, and right now, because the Steelers are expected to release Preston Smith, the outside linebacker that was reported 2 days ago, the current expected cap space for the Steelers this year, along with the $13+ million that you get after releasing and cutting Preston Smith, is $53.8 million. And once the Steelers kind of go through the rest of their cuts and, maybe they trade George Pickens, whatever, I think that they're going to end up with around $80 million or so to use in free agency this year. So if you pay Tee Higgins $30 million per season, all right, and it might actually be more than that, that would account for 37.5% of the Steelers' off-season budget, all right? So listen, man, that's a legitimate question to ask right now. Is Tee Higgins worth 37.5% of the Steelers' budget for this offseason? And I honestly don't know the answer to that question. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but you're definitely going to be able to do a whole lot less in free agency if you really splurge and pay Tee Higgins $30+ million per season. So let me know your answer down there in the comments section. Is Tee Higgins worth it? Would you pay him $30+ million per season to be the new number one receiver here in Pittsburgh? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comments section. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So here in just a second, I'm going to be telling you about our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And while I'm talking about Prize Picks, give me a yes or a no down there in the comments section. And with that, I want to introduce you guys to our sponsor today, Prize Picks. And Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, Florida, and more. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone. You can download it for free today. Join over 10 million members and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. The big game is almost here, and I know which game. I know you guys know what game I'm talking about here. The Chiefs and the Eagles will meet to decide the NFL champion in New Orleans coming up here in about 2 weeks, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game. Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick for that big game where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. If you're correct on just one more stat projection, you can win real cash. So let's say you want Patrick Mahomes. Use that free square, and then you get something else right. Like maybe it's A.J. Brown, anytime touchdown, whatever the case may be. You're going to be walking away with some money from Prize Picks. So it's a fantastic deal, guys. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. So former, Super Bowl MVP and Patriots legend Julian Edelman, he has a podcast, and on that podcast this week, he absolutely ripped Mike Tomlin's lack of ability to adapt and evolve his defense over the years, pretty much saying that they're still running the same stuff schematically than what they were running against them when Edelman was still playing. And remember, Edelman's been out of the league for multiple seasons at this point. This is what Julian had to say on his podcast about the Steelers' defensive schematics. The Steelers still do what they did. They still do the same you guys get it. When I was playing Mike Tomlin's defense, I'm like, we still have linebackers covering the 3 slots. So talking about the number 3 receiver in the slot. Every time we play Steelers, I have at least 9 catches. You would think that they would change it up, but no, they do what they do. And yes, Julian Edelman is 100% correct. All right, the Steelers defense, give or take, a couple of different adjustments the Steelers have made throughout the years is mostly the same philosophically as when Mike Tomlin first took this job. All right, so almost 2 decades of this defense being pretty much the same schematically as it was even in the late 2000s. All right, like it's just crazy how Mike Tomlin has been able to do the same defense for this long and have as much success as he has had. And the reality about this defense is that it is sound, all right? This is a defense that was adopted by the Tampa 2 system with Monty Kiffin in the early 2000s. That's where Mike Tomlin learned this defense, right? And then he took it to Minnesota and had success there. That's why he got the job here in Pittsburgh. He's had success here with it for multiple seasons. Even, Pete Carroll, who's also a Tampa 2 disciple, took it and used it to be kind of the base of that Legion of Boom era there in Seattle. So this has definitely been something that has worked for a long time, and these are the tenets of the Mike Tomlin defense. You play cover 3 on early downs to get an extra guy in the box to play the run and hopefully keep the offense in front of you, not allow too many big plays off of play action. Then if you can force the offense into a second down and pass or third down and pass situation, you can throw Tampa 2 in there, and that's what the Tampa 2 defense there in Tampa did, is that every time they got into second and long, third and long, they played Tampa 2, and then what Tomlin likes to do is he likes to throw the Dick LeBeau, different zone fire blitzes on third down, and that's what he likes to do, and that is definitely his style of defense, and that's what he's had here in Pittsburgh for a long time. So this is why I think the defensive coordinator here in Pittsburgh doesn't matter as much as people think that it does. I know people want Terrell Austin fired, and honestly, I don't care if he gets fired or not. It doesn't matter who the DC is here, man. Mike Tomlin's going to run his defense. He's going to tell his defensive coordinator to run his defense and his sequences and his schemes, and it's not going to change. Even if Brian Flores was the defensive coordinator, I know Steelers fans love to say we should have fired Austin Boston and put Brian Flores in. Guess what? He would have played Mike Tomlin's defense, and he wouldn't have been running all of the crazy man match stuff that he had then implemented in Minnesota. It wouldn't have happened that way. So at the end of the day, guys, the only way that the Steelers defense is going to change is if Mike Tomlin is not in the building. Plain and simply. He's in charge of the defense. He comes up with the defensive game plans, and he hasn't changed his philosophy since he got here in the late 2000s, all right? So that's not going to change anytime soon. He's going to continue to run this system, which is a sound defense, but you need the right personnel to run it, and it's also very predictable and very easy to game plan against, which is why the best offensive play callers in football constantly shred this defense, all right? Like Andy Reid, Shane Steichen, all those guys, they do so well against this defense. But you know what else does really well? Us here at Steelers Talk, man. We are the fastest growing Steelers channel anywhere on YouTube. That's all thanks to your guys' support. We're now over 75,000 strong here on our YouTube channel. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now because it's 100% free to do so. We got daily videos for you guys. Every time Omar Khan makes a big move, we're going to be going live with breaking news coverage this offseason. We also got weekly live shows every Monday and Thursday starting at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So thank you guys for all of your support. And without further ado, let's get into our final segment on today's News and Rumors show here on Steelers Talk, which is to whether or not the Steelers should try to trade for cornerback Darius Slay next offseason. Now, obviously, Slay is about to play in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, and he said in a recent interview before the NFC Championship game that he doesn't expect to be back in Philadelphia next year. This is what he had to say. If I wanted to do my 13th year, if it got to be somewhere else, it will be. But I don't want to. I'd love to stay in Philadelphia, do my last year here for sure, because I ain't doing no other than 13. I'm just going to appreciate the moment, just trying to make sure I give this organization the best thing I got. So listen, man, I could certainly see Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers being very interested in a one-year rental for Darius Slay, because he just said in that quote that he only plans on playing one more season and he doesn't expect to be in Philadelphia. So you take a look at his numbers and his production throughout the years. No interceptions this year, but he's been very, very good in coverage. 13 pass breakups, 3 TFLs, so he can make a difference in the screen game as well, bringing down guys behind the line of scrimmage. And then this year, his Pro Football Focus grade, a lot better than what it was in previous seasons. Last year was just a 66.0. This year, he got it up to a 72.0, mostly because Quinyon Mitchell, the excellent rookie that the Eagles have in their secondary, has really taken on Slay's role as the number one corner in that defense, and I think it's probably time, and Slay definitely implies that it's going to be time this offseason to move on from that organization and find a new home. Now, if the Steelers trade for him, they only take on the base salary and then the roster bonuses, so in this case, that's just $1.255 million. All right, so that's honestly pretty darn affordable for a guy that's a really good number 2 corner. Guess what? The Steelers are looking for an experienced number 2 cover corner, and I think that Slay has done a really good job in Philly this year, and I think he'd be a great fit here in Pittsburgh. I think that, that one-year Band-Aid is certainly not a long-term solution. I think that a lot of Steelers fans would rather get somebody that could be here for 4 or 5 years, be more of a long-term solution alongside Joey Porter Jr., but as far as one-year Band-Aids go, Darius Slay is about as good as you're going to get, especially at the $1.2 million price tag that's going to be going up against your cap. Now, for me personally, I think that the Eagles would probably want like a 5th-round pick. Maybe the Steelers can luck out and get him for a 7th-round pick. Remember, the Steelers don't have a 6th-rounder this year, so that's not on the table. So either the 5th-round pick or the 7th-round pick is what the Steelers can offer Philadelphia in a trade. But let me know down there in the comments section, would you accept this trade if you were the Pittsburgh Steelers, a 5th-round pick for the veteran Darius Slay? Type A for accept or D for decline. For me personally, guys, I am typing D for decline. I think a 5th-round pick will be too rich, and I think that a 5th-rounder is too much for a one-year rental like Slay. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate your support. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we're right here every single day giving you guys the best damn Steelers content money can buy, 100% free. So until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. First segment in the books. Coming up next, I've got my free agency targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to be breaking down all the top guys at all the positions of need for the black and gold here, Coop. So a very interesting segment coming up. And then we have my first 7-round mock draft of the year. So a lot of fun still to come here on Steelers Talk. We did get a super chat. We got it from Mike G, my man. Says, would you rather have Garrett Wilson or Tee Higgins? I'd rather have Garrett Wilson. Now, here's the thing. With Wilson, he's expensive because of the draft capital you have to get rid of.
That's probably at least one first-round
At
pick.
least a first-round pick to get Garrett Wilson. Higgins is a different kind of expensive. You don't have to use any of your draft capital, but you do have to give him $30+ million per season, which is a lot of money, all right? So, I think it depends on what you find more valuable. Do you want that first-round draft pick? If that's the case, you probably want to pay Tee Higgins to be your number one receiver. Would you rather keep more cap space and be able to bring in more players? If that's the case, you trade the first-round pick for Garrett Wilson. I'm okay with either one. If they could bring in either of these guys, we would be absolutely stoked.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we'd be waving the towels. We'll be going live for that show whenever they acquire one of these guys. If they do, it's going to be phenomenal. $5 super chat. You guys know what that means. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. We just got another $5 super chat. We'll get to that here in just a second. But here's our donation menu today, guys. Any super chat you get on the show, doesn't matter the amount. Also, $5, we do a Here We Go Steelers chant like we just did for my man Mike. $10, we spin the wheel for you. $20, we spin it 3 times, and I have to do 10 push-ups. All right, so if you guys want to get those super chats in, we greatly appreciate all of your guys' support.
David Shaw hired by the Lions. Pass game coordinator.
Oh, all right. David Shaw, good for him. I feel like the Lions are just not going to be
They might
nearly as
stink.
good. I don't think they'll stink. They're too talented.
But I don't know.
They won't be nearly as good. They'll win like 10 games next year. I don't know how to say this. Is it Itkaji?
Itkaji, I like that.
Itkaji,
Yeah.
$5 says, do you think because of DJ Moore being unhappy on the Bears, he is a possible trade? I actually don't know if that's necessarily true. I think he was upset last year.
Just with how it went.
With how it went with Eberflus and everything. But I think this year, now that he's going to be able to work with Ben Johnson, and like the incredible talent of Caleb Williams, I don't think DJ Moore's going anywhere, unfortunately. Mike G with our Smoothie Booty. I love it, with the picture of Ninja with the $5 says Deshaun Watson. Oh my gosh, we're not even going to.
The AFC North. All I'm saying is I hope the Steelers aren't involved next.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. There we go, guys. Thanks for the 5s. Appreciate you guys. So without further ado, let's get into the next segment here. My Steelers free agency targets. They're coming at you guys, and they're coming at you hot. So without further ado, let's get into the next segment here on Steelers Talk Live right now. NFL free agency is right around the corner for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So today I'm breaking down the top 2025 NFL free agents at all of the positions of need that the Steelers are going to have to address at some point during this offseason. Before we get into the content today and we break down the top free agent targets the Steelers can consider, get us started down there in the comment section by naming a free agent that you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to sign this year. Is it Tee Higgins? Is it, I don't know, Carlton Davis III? Is it Mike Hilton? Let me know down there in the comment section, what free agent do you want the Steelers to go get? So here are the team needs that we're going to talk about today. Now, obviously, the Steelers have other needs, rotational needs that they will need to address. I think they need to get a little bit of help on the O-line, a little bit of help rotationally at inside linebacker. Another safety would be nice, but these are the 5 main ones that you need day one starters on heading into free agency and the draft. So we'll start with the quarterback position here. And what we've heard is that Art Rooney, the Steelers owner, and the people inside the building would like to bring back either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. All right, it's probably not an and situation. All right, if you're hoping Russ and Fields are back next year, it's probably not going to happen. So the most likely scenario is that they pick between Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, and then whoever they pick is going to be the starting quarterback for this team next year. But there are other options out there. Sam Darnold has been using the Cognilyze VR technology with the Minnesota Vikings this past year. If the Steelers get him, I would guess that he would demand that his next team invests in that technology. So that would be beneficial for the Steelers if they got Sam Darnold. Derek Carr, the benefit of him is that he's actually pretty decent inside of an offense similar to Arthur Smith. Had a really good start to last season in New Orleans when he had all of his offensive linemen and his receivers healthy. Plus, he could bring Devontae Adams in to be this team's number one receiver. And then Aaron Rodgers, I honestly don't love that idea, guys. You could probably bring in Devontae if you have Rodgers, but it definitely sounds like it's either going to be Russell Wilson or Justin Fields as the starting quarterback of the black and gold in 2025. And, I'm honestly okay with that. And I could see the argument for both, all right? I can see why some people would want Russ because he's got the experience, because he's more accurate, because he's a better downfield passer, all these different things. He's better on his first read, all these different things. I can see why people would want Russ, but I can also see why people would want Fields because he's younger, he's got the higher upside, he's not going to be as expensive, all these different things. I think there's an argument to be made to go with either quarterback. And in the end, guys, I am behind whoever this team goes with. If they go with Russell Wilson, I'm going to support this team with Russell Wilson as this team's starting quarterback, all right? And by the way, I still think this team can have success with Russ at quarterback if they can fix the O-line in the run game and get him at least one more weapon. But I'm also going to get behind Justin Fields if that's who they go with. I'm hoping that they support him with VR technology so he can continue to develop his mental processing. And I hope that they can also get him a run game because I think that no matter what and no matter which quarterback they choose, a run game will be essential for the Steelers to have success in 2025. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. What's the percent chance that an outside quarterback, not Justin Fields and not Russell Wilson, is brought in to be this team's starting quarterback in 2025? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comments section. Right now, I don't think it's likely, guys. I'll probably put it at around a 15% chance an outside quarterback is brought in to start week 1. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time. But let me know your answer to today's pinned question. So now let's move on to the running backs here because this is a position that we talked about here. If it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is and really what's important is the run game, the number one running back position is the most important spot to fill for the Steelers this offseason. Period. All right? Like they need their Saquon Barkley. They need their Derrick Henry. They need the guy that can be that dynamic talent that takes this team from a bottom 10 run offense, arguably bottom 5 run offense, to a top 5 running offense because that's the only way I can see this team honestly competing for a Super Bowl. But I don't love this class of free agents, right? It's not like last year where you had Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry all hit the market at the same time. This year, I think that the most likely candidates, Nick Chubb, we know Mike Tomlin has a lot of respect for Nick Chubb, but his production went down significantly. I'm not necessarily interested in him. J.K. Dobbins, he's good when he's on the field, but he's always injured. Aaron Jones is not really the type of running back that I think the Steelers are interested in. He's more of a receiving running back. I'm not sure if he's a true dynamic number one. And then Rico Dowdle and Najee Harris are just meh. Like they're mid, right? I just don't think that those guys are the dynamic playmakers that the Steelers need to make this a top 5 rushing attack in 2025. And I think that the plan needs to be for the Steelers to take a running back early, whether that's in round 1 with Ashton Janty, if they can somehow find a way to get him, or if it means getting a really good running back on day 2. There's a bunch of great running backs that are going to be drafted on day 2 this year. So I honestly think right now the most likely scenario is the Steelers take a running back in round 2 of the NFL draft to be their future number 1 guy alongside Jaylen Warren in the backfield. So coming up here, we got more Steelers free agency targets to cover with you guys. We got wide receivers, we got cornerbacks, and we still got nose tackles to talk about here on the show. So before we get into those positions, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Game Time, which is the best place for you to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And guys, you guys know about Game Time Picks. If you've been watching the show for a while, Game Time Picks is awesome because it helps you get tickets to live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All you have to do is select the Game Time Picks button at the top of the screen when you click into an event you want to go see, and Game Time is automatically going to do the research for you to find the best tickets at the best prices so that you and your family can get the best deals on any ticket you get to any live event. And it saves you a bunch of time and money because you're getting the best possible deals, but you don't have to do the hours of research to find them. What I love about using the Game Time app is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event. You guys also get all-in pricing on the app, so you don't get slapped with the crazy fee at checkout. The number you see on screen is the number you pay. Also, the flash deals are applicable as well, so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So wide receiver is a position that the Steelers need to add at least one piece to that room this offseason. If they trade George Pickens, which seems more and more likely by the day at this point, quite frankly, you might need to go get two of them, either in free agency or in the draft this offseason. So the guys that are at the top of the list in terms of the guys that could potentially be number one receivers for an NFL team still, Tee Higgins is going to be the super expensive option. Devontae Adams, it sounds like he's going to get released by the New York Jets. He might be more of a mid-priced option as somebody that's getting a little bit older. Chris Godwin's coming off a big injury, but he had a phenomenal season, can play both outside and in. Stephon Diggs also coming off an injury and is getting older. Then DeAndre Hopkins, pretty decent season in Kansas City, but he's certainly not what he once was. And, probably the best name on this list, Tee Higgins, he's also going to be the most expensive by far. There's going to be a lot of teams, LA, New England, others that are going to want to bring in Tee Higgins, and they're going to be willing to give him probably upwards of $30 million to do so. A lot of the people surrounding the Patriots organization are saying that team is willing to pay him over $32 million per season. So if the Steelers want him, they're going to have to pony up the cash, and they're going to have to spend almost 40% of their budget for the offseason this year in terms of cap resources on one player. All right, so that's going to be an extremely, extremely expensive player if you want Tee Higgins. You're not going to be able to do as much at other positions if you get Higgins, but man, he is a goon, as Mike Tomlin likes to say, and he could be huge for this Steelers offense. So let me know down there in the comments section, is Tee Higgins worth it? Would you pay him $30+ million per season? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comments section. So now on to the cornerbacks here, and I don't think Dante Jackson is a good enough cover corner to play on the other side of Joey Porter Jr. moving forward. I think the Steelers need to upgrade at this particular position, and honestly, I think that they should also get a slot corner to replace Cam Sutton, and I think to play in front of Beanie Bishop Jr. Beanie's just too small, in my opinion, to be a reliable slot corner in this league. Then you get to the top 10 list here. DJ Reed would be phenomenal. I really like Carlton Davis's fit with this team as well. Byron Murphy Jr., really good in man coverage. Mike Hilton is somebody that used to play in this defense in the slot, has done a really good job there. And then honestly, I'd be happy and I'd be okay with anybody on this list. Right? I think anybody on this list would be a good number 2 corner on the other side of Joey Porter Jr. and help out the Steelers defense get better in 2025. And the thing that I would really love to do is bring back Mike Hilton. I mean, he was a blitzing extraordinaire in the slot when he was here in Pittsburgh, and he is still, in my opinion, the best blitzing slot corner in all of football. It's one of the only things that was good about the Cincinnati defense the last couple of years is that he was still good at attacking pass rushers. And I think the Steelers, when they had him, as kind of like a pseudo third edge rusher to confuse other quarterbacks and really account for him, I think that made this defense even better. And I think that bringing in Mike Hilton for the projected contract range that Pro Football Focus has at him right now at 3 years, $11 million per season is more than worth it to take this Steelers defense in the slot to a whole nother level. So finally here, let's talk some nose tackles. This is our final position group of the day that we'll be talking about. And you guys know I want to move Keanu Benton, who has been this team's nose tackle, to 5 technique because he can penetrate a little bit more. He can get in the backfield a bit more, and he doesn't have to take on as many double teams, and he doesn't have to take on as much of a run-stuffing role at just over 300 pounds. I think he'd be a lot better at the 5 technique where Larry Ogunjobi currently plays, and if the Steelers can get a big body run stuffer in the middle, I think that'd be greatly beneficial for this team. So here are the best nose tackles available, in my opinion, in free agency this year. B.J. Hill coming over from Cincinnati. D.J. Jones is a really good run stuffer from coming over from Denver. Poona Ford is somebody that I'm a big fan of here. And come on, man, one of the best names in football too. And then Linval Joseph, honestly, I wouldn't be a big fan of Linval. He's really old at this point. And to trust him as a full-time starter in the nose, I just don't want to do that if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers. But even if they get one of these guys in free agency, guys, I do think that they're going to go and get a defensive tackle of some sort in the draft. All right, now maybe their plan is just to keep Keanu Benton at nose tackle and they want a lighter 5 technique to come in and play that position. That's certainly possible. There's lots of really good 5 technique type of players, 3-4 defensive ends in this year's draft class. But personally, there's also some really good nose tackles as well that I would consider because I think Keanu Benton can be a game-changing presence if he's allowed to be more of a disruptive player in the Steelers scheme. So that'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate your support and making it to the end of today's show. And if you're one of those real ones that's still watching this show at the end, make sure you let me know down there in the comments section so we can take count of all the real ones that made it to the end of the show. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we got more extensive Steelers coverage coming your way all throughout the offseason. So until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, Coop. Coming up next, my first Steelers mock draft, 7 rounds this draft season. I've been watching a lot of these guys at the Senior Bowl and the tapes that we've gotten out of Mobile this week extremely closely. And I've got some players that are playing in the game this weekend on my list.
I want, just wrapping up that last segment, you talked me into my guy Poona Ford. He is a Longhorn legend as well.
I love Poona.
Great name.
Great run stuffer.
And he's about 5'10", 300 pounds, and is an absolute bowling ball. Give me Poona Ford.
He is a bowling ball, and he is out in the middle of that defense, man. So I would love Poona, and I'd also love some of these bigger-bodied defensive tackles.
But I also think that, like you said, even if they sign someone in free agency, I think they need to get someone in the draft as well. Whether it's Deion Walker from Kentucky or maybe you find a guy later, I think they need to still draft one and develop that guy too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you're constantly replenishing veteran talent, but you're also replenishing young talent that's going to eventually take over. So I think the Steelers do a decent job of that.
They did it with Keanu.
And I think that now, the next position and the next step is to let him be Keanu Benson and the disruptive force that he can be, instead of just putting him in the middle and force him to take double teams and really neuter him.
And now that Cam is probably, on his last 2 seasons, you really have to start thinking about the future of your defensive line.
Yeah, and I think Keanu is a big part of that future. I think that he's going to eventually take over at 3 technique for him. Honestly, my pro comp for Keanu coming out was Cam Hayward.
Oh, wow.
So, I think that, that plan has been in place for a while now. And I think that whenever Cam does hang up the cleats, it sounds like it's going to be 2 seasons from now. He's got 2 more seasons, and then he's done. Keanu will be the future of that position moving forward. All right, man, let's get into my first 7-round mock draft of the year. I appreciate all of your guys' support. We're going to be doing a live mock draft every single Thursday this offseason. All right, so every single week, every Thursday, I give you guys my latest 7-round Steelers mock draft. So just mark your calendars, because that's when I'm putting them out. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Without further ado, let's get into my first mock draft of the 2025 draft season. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today I am unveiling my first 7-round mock draft for your Pittsburgh Steelers on today's show. 7 rounds, got 7 picks, 7 players, no trades that the Pittsburgh Steelers would take here. I think it fills all the needs that the Steelers need currently heading into the offseason. And obviously the needs are going to change and adapt as the Steelers sign more players, cut players throughout the offseason. But as we start kind of the draft season with Senior Bowl week here, this is what I'm thinking for the Pittsburgh Steelers in my first mock draft of the year. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we will be doing weekly mock drafts going out on the weekends here on Steelers Talk. So if you guys want my weekly Steelers mock drafts, this is where you're going to find it. Click that subscribe button for extensive Steelers draft coverage every single day all throughout the 2025 offseason. So in my first round pick here, number 121 overall, I know a lot of people around the draft space are connecting Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State to the Steelers at number 21, but let me tell you, there's a reason for that, all right? This guy is a perfect fit for what Arthur Smith wants to do offensively. He's a bigger wide receiver that runs beautiful routes. He's great after the catch, and then he's also a great run blocker and a great teammate. All right, he's also a bit older. He's played on a lot of football games. He's played in a lot of playoff caliber football with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Just won a national championship with that team this year. So I think that this is a pick where you're getting a winner. You're getting somebody that fits what the Steelers need as a true route runner and run blocker. He's not going to be the best in terms of separating down the field necessarily, but he's certainly somebody that's going to be able to come in on day one and be a legit starting receiver in this rotation and help this team move the sticks consistently in the passing game. So who's your guy? Let me know down there in the comments section. Who do you want the Steelers to take in round 1 of the NFL draft? this year. If I had it my way, guys, and if it was a perfect world, I would have them go and get Ashton Janty, running back out of Boise State. I think he could be a special player in year one that the Steelers really need at running back, but I don't think he's going to make it to the Steelers at number 21. So in a mock draft with no trades, I do have Emeka Egbuka. Let me know down there in the comments section what you guys want for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by letting me know who you want the Steelers to take in round 1. Then in round 2, I'm going to take the running back that currently ranks 3rd on the Pro Football Focus big board and is ranked very highly by a lot of people. That's Cam Scadaboo, the running back out of Arizona State. And, the more I watch Cam on film, the more it screams Pittsburgh Steelers to me. This guy is incredibly tough. He makes people miss in space. And, for as big as he is and as powerful as he is, that's what everybody knows about Cam. He's extremely light on his feet, super quick feet. He can cut and juke and jive and, make people miss in that way as well. He's got incredible vision to weave through, kind of the formation that the offensive line is able to create for him. And he's also really good as a pass catcher as well out in space. So he's somebody that's going to be able to help this team as a pass catcher, as a true receiver out of the backfield. He's going to be able to move the sticks on short yardage because of his frame and his ability to run people over. And then his vision and his quick feet are going to help him make big explosive plays for this team in the run game. So if you can't get Ashton Janty, my preferred pick in round 1, I think Cam Scadaboo is going to be somebody that would be an excellent fit in the Steelers offense. Then to round out day 2 for the Steelers here in round 3, I got Azariah Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State. Now, Thomas was a participant in the Senior Bowl this year in Mobile, Alabama, and you can see on the picture here, this guy's got long arms, and he's super physical. You guys remember last year, I was a big fan of Renardo Green, another press man corner out of Florida State, and, I think the Steelers really missed out on an opportunity to get him. He played phenomenally for the San Francisco 49ers this year. This guy here, Thomas, I think is, in a pretty similar class to Renardo Green this year. Long arms, physical and press man coverage. The Steelers like to play man coverage more than just about anybody in football, especially when they play the Ravens and Bengals within the division. These are the types of corners that they like. So if you're going to get one on day 2, my pick would be Azariah Thomas in round 3. So coming up here on the first mock draft that I have for the Pittsburgh Steelers here during this draft season, got my day 3 picks. So rounds 4 through 7, some potential sleepers that I think the Steelers should be keeping their eye on here this draft season. But before we get into day 3, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks, which is the best place to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, Florida, and more. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone, and it's free to download right now. Join over 10 million members and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. The big game is almost here, guys, and I know you know what game I'm talking about here. Chiefs, Eagles to decide who the Super Bowl champion or who the champion's going to be in the NFL this year. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game this year. Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick for that big game where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. So if you're correct on at least one more stat projection, you can win real cash. All right, so pretty much you put Patrick Mahomes, free square, whatever. If as long as he doesn't get hurt on the first play, you're good on that one. All you need is one other projection to hit. Maybe it's an A.J. Brown anytime touchdown or anything else that you can find on the Prize Picks app for the big game, and you guys are going to be walking away with some money with our friends at Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. In round 4, I'm going to take Darius Alexander, the versatile and powerful and violent defensive tackle out of Toledo. This guy is officially a Sperry psycho this year, so you guys know that I love him, and I just love how Alexander defends the run, all right? Some of these other guys like Talik Williams, Deion Walker, they have a little bit of an issue with pad level, so they can get kind of blown off the spot a little bit. I think Alexander on film is a lot better at keeping his pad level, and at 310 pounds, He can play 5 technique if you want. I think he's nimble enough to play there. I think you can put him at 3 technique. I think he's a good enough pass rusher to play at that spot. And I think he's a good enough run defender to play in the nose. So I'm a big fan of Alexander's game. I thought he had one of the best weeks at the Senior Bowl this year. He's a big-time riser, so we'll see where he ends up in terms of where he's going to be taken in this year's NFL draft. But I think right now, round 4 seems about good to me. Now in round 5, I'm going to take Quincy Riley, another corner here. I'm going to put Quincy in the slot to start his NFL career with the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, and Riley was another guy that I thought played really, really well at the Senior Bowl this year, and he's somebody that I think is a bit of a sleeper. I think he's 177th on the Pro Football Focus big board right now, but I think Riley can play in the slot right away. You take a look at the cornerback depth chart for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cam Sutton is going to be a free agent here, and I think Beanie Bishop Jr. is fine. He was in the right place at the right time, and he made some plays happen interception-wise this year. I love Beanie, but he was a little bit of a liability in coverage this year. I think Riley, he's got those long arms. He can be better in run defense. He can put that long arm of his into the throwing lanes, all these different things. I think Riley, if you don't get a guy like Mike Hilton or somebody else to take on this slot cornerback spot in the Steelers defense, I would go with Quincy Riley. And hey, if the guy we took in round 3, Thomas out of Florida State, doesn't pan out, I think Riley still has the physical skill set to maybe even survive on the outside. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already for more Steelers draft content right here on Steelers Talk. Greatly appreciate your guys' support. So if you want more draft stuff, more draft rumors, draft targets, mock drafts, all that stuff, make sure you let that be known right now and click that thumbs up icon. So you might have noticed, Jack, you haven't taken a quarterback yet. You're right. I think that the Steelers are going to go with Justin Fields as their quarterback this year. I think they're going to get a solid high-end veteran backup like a Tyrod Taylor or something like that to back him up. And then I think they take a flyer on a day 3 quarterback. So the quarterback I'll take here is Max Brosmer, big arm quarterback that really came on to the scene later in the season with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. He was terrible to start the season. But he really did a good job finishing that season with PJ Fleck and the Row the Boat people down there or up there in Minnesota. And he has some really nice tools. So if you're going to spend a day 3 flyer on somebody, I would like to go with a guy like Brosmer, who's got the strong arm. He's been playing pretty well in Shrine Bowl practices this week here in Frisco, Texas. So he's somebody I've got my eye on as a day 3 flyer. Then I'll finish out my mock draft this week with Anthony Belton, offensive lineman out of NC State, who really had a good week at the Senior Bowl this week. I think that he probably increased his stock. So how realistic is it that the Steelers can get him here in round 7? I don't know how realistic it actually is going to be. I think he'll probably be an early day 3 guy as opposed to a late day 3 guy. But, right now the Pro Football Focus big board has him ranked all way down. So if that's the case, I'm going to take him as a sleeper here in round 7 in my first mock draft. I think that Belton would be an offensive line piece that could play anywhere that you need him to. If Broderick Jones sucks at left tackle, throw Belton in there. All right, if Mason McCormick sucks at right guard like he did towards the end of the season this year, put Belton at right guard. Right, they put him everywhere except for center at the Senior Bowl, and I honestly thought he played better at guard than at tackle, which is what he's coming out as. So I think Belton would be another piece and another dart throw at offensive line for the Steelers. So that is my first mock draft for the Steelers here this year. My haul includes a receiver in round 1 and Emeka Egbuka. Perfect scheme fits. Cam Scatterbo to be your future number 1 running back. Azarie Thomas out of Florida State, a cornerback in round 3. Darius Alexander, very versatile, very powerful. Defensive tackle in round 4, Quincy Riley, a slot defender who could potentially have some outside versatility. In round 5, Max Brosmer and Anthony Belton in round 7. So grade my mock down there in the comments section, A, B, C, D, or F. Obviously, it's my mock, so I'm giving it an A+ down there in the comments section, but let me know what you guys think down there in the chat. Appreciate all of your guys' support. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We got more extensive Steelers draft coverage all throughout the 2025 offseason right here on the channel. So if you want that coverage, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. First mock draft of the year in the books, Mr. Coop.
Do you think we could get Belton in the 7th round?
No.
No?
But, the way I did it was I looked at the PFF big board.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna take the players that they allow me to take.
Yeah.
And they were allowing me to take Belton in the 7th round.
Well, you think he had a good enough week?
I thought he played great. I thought he played really good at guard, and he played better at tackle than I thought he was going to play this week.
Yeah.
So I think Belton is somebody that if you could get them in round 7,
great,
run it up to the podium.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be more round 5, round 4 maybe. We'll see how much his draft stock is affected by the week of practice that he had.
And the one thing we do know is that Mike Tomlin was infatuated with the defensive tackles this week.
Yes, and by the way, Darius Alexander was there in Mobile, and he had arguably one of the most complete performances out of anybody on the defensive line this week. I mean, even more than Deion Walker. I mean, I think the only person that maybe showed out a little bit more was Walter Nolan, the kid out of Ole Miss.
We're not going to be in a position to draft him, probably, right?
21. I think he probably gets to 21.
Do you take him at 21 though?
I
think I lean offense at 21.
Yeah, I think you want to go offense in round 1 because I think no matter what, unless you get Tee Higgins and you're keeping George Pickens, which I don't think is going to happen.
I don't think would be the case. Right?
I think if you get Tee Higgins, you're more likely to trade George Pickens.
Yes, 100%.
I think the way it's going to work,
because you're not paying George Pickens.
I think the Steelers will have their list of receivers in free agency or trade that they would move off of George Pickens for. I think Tee Higgins is one of those guys, and then I think their plan is to go wide receiver, running back in the first 2 rounds.
Yep.
I think that's the plan. And
then defensive tackle.
And then they want to go defensive tackle at some point, but they don't want to go too early with it.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. But, I've gotten some pushback on the Cam Scadaboo stuff. But, I mean, the kid is just – the reason why, Coop, is because he's not super fast. He might run low 4.6s, high 4.5s. But remember who else had a really slow 40? Le'Veon Bell.
Absolutely.
Ran a 4.6, one of the greatest running backs in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know who else had a really slow 40 time? James Conner. 4.65. He's one of the best running backs in football right now with the Arizona Cardinals.
What else about Cam Scadaboo? He just screams Pittsburgh Steeler. He has the hardworking mentality. He has the F you, I'm going to run over you mentality. And I think that's kind of what Mike Tomlin and this Steelers staff looks for in a running back. And I think Scadaboo fits that perfectly.
I agree. And, you got Jalen Warren, who's a little bit more of the
Thunder and Lightning.
Yeah, Thunder and Lightning again, right? Najee was Thunder, but he had 0 lightning to his
Correct.
game. Never breaking off huge runs, explosive runs. Scadaboo can do that because he actually makes guys miss.
Exactly.
Najee Harris doesn't make guys miss consistently, and if he does, he's stiff-arming them. Not only does Scadaboo have a really good stiff arm of his own, but he's got the light feet that Najee just doesn't have. And he can make guys miss with the juke, spin move, all these different moves that he has at his disposal. Plus, he's a good receiving back, too.
Scadaboo, yeah, he can definitely do it out of the backfield as well. I think that'd be a great pick for the Steelers, honestly. I'd be all in on that.
Absolutely. We do have a super chat rolling in here that we'll get to here in just a second. By the way, if you have a topic that you want us to address right at the end of the show here, guys, we'll stay live for around 5 more minutes or so. If you got a question, let us know and send in your super chats.
Come on now.
Come on now, Chip.
Are you excited to go to the Super Bowl with Chip?
I was going to announce it yesterday on the show, but I guess the cat's out of the bag. I will be going to...
Yesterday.
What's that?
You said yesterday?
No, tomorrow.
You said yesterday.
Oh, whatever. But yes, I will be going to New Orleans with our crew here at Chat Sports, so we will be getting Steelers content from Radio Row next week. So hopefully I can run into Justin Fields or somebody.
Andrew Filipponi.
Not Andrew Filipponi. No, that he's not high on my list. Brian03 says pro comps for all the top 5 or 6 running backs in the draft. Ashton Janty reminds me a little bit of Zeke. Young Zeke.
Yeah, I can see that.
He reminds me of young Zeke. Also, he has a little bit of Marshawn Lynch in him as well. But I think Zeke is a really good one. Omarion Hampton, I don't even know when it comes to Hampton. He's a taller running back. So 6'1".
I don't even know if there's a pro comp for him.
I don't even know if there is a true pro comp. Cam Scadaboo. It's not Jerome Bettis. Bettis was so fucking huge.
Toby Gerhard. Peyton Hillis.
Yeah, but he's gonna be better than all those guys.
No, he will. He's way better
Cam
than all those.
is so unique as well.
Dude, is James Conner a good comp?
James Conner, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I like the comp with Caleb Johnson with James Conner a little bit more. RJ Harvey out of UCF reminds me a lot of Le'Veon, only a faster version of Le'Veon.
He's a smaller guy, though, right?
Smaller guy, 5'9", 208, but he's got thick legs, so he's hard to bring down, and he's smaller, so it's hard to get a hand on him. He's got great vision and patience. I love RJ Harvey's game. Quinshon Judkins is a super physically talented cat, all right? He's going to run in the 4.4s at 220 pounds. So he is somebody I got my eye on.
What about Travion?
Travion's smaller, and he's kind of similar to Warren.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I think it would be a little bit redundant to get a guy like Travion. He's 5'10", 208. So I don't know how much of a fit that is, but Caleb Johnson's 225.
Is he a psycho?
That is a big boy right there, man. I think Scadaboo might have to be a psycho this year, man. If you watch Cam Scadaboo's highlights,
an absolute beast.
Dude is running over people.
He's the definition of a psycho. Like, he is literally psycho.
Yes. And that's why I think Steelers fans would love him, man. He'd be perfect for this city.
I think so, too.
He really would. So that's kind of where I'm at. Hope that answers your question, Brian. Thank you so much for sending in the super chat. But the reality of the situation here, Coop, is that, I'm going to have my guys at running back, whatever, the guys that I prefer. But there are 8 different running backs I'd be okay with on day 2.
It's a deep running back class.
Super deep. There's going to be 8 running backs that go off the board on day 2. There's going to be so many good guys. And if they got any of Janty, Omarion Hampton, Cam Scadaboo, Dylan Sampson, Caleb Johnson, Devin Neal's pretty good out of Kansas as well.
I forgot about Sampson from Tennessee.
Sampson is fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got the jitterbug, light feet.
Yeah.
But if he can put his foot down on the ground and run. Quinshon Judkins, I'd love. RJ Harvey is someone I'd love. Trevor Etienne had a really good week at Senior Bowl. He wouldn't be terrible if you miss out on that kind of next tier. But the opportunities are going to be there to get a brand new number 1 running back this year, and probably on day 2, unless you get Janty on day 1. But honestly,
there's no way he's getting a 21.
You know what I kind of predict right now? And
I have a prediction as well.
I think I'm going to be putting out my first round mock draft on the channel, on the NFL Draft channel next week. So make sure you subscribe to that channel. But I think I'm going to have Ashton Janty go to the Raiders.
No way.
Because what does Pete Carroll want to do? What's his identity? Defense, run the ball, and then bring in Russell Wilson. I think that's what the Raiders are going to do. If they bring in Russ, they know that he's not going to be the guy that carries them. They're going to have to get a playmaker to carry the offense, and Janty would be the guy to do that. They need running back help.
You're not wrong.
He's worth a top 10 pick.
No,
They're
I agree.
6.
It actually wouldn't shock me. I think Janty's going to the Cowboys.
And he might.
Yeah.
Knowing the Raiders, they'll probably trade up for Shedeur Sanders or something like that, and he sucks dick, right?
No, they'll trade up to draft the top corner in the draft, whoever that is.
Yeah. I mean, the Raiders will probably Raider. But, if they're smart, I think that they would be you know what? This guy could be our Ezekiel Elliott to what Zeke was to the Cowboys.
They'd have Brock Bowers and Ashton Janty as, the prime playmakers
on
that offense.
I mean, 2 great players. One for your pass game, one for your run game. And then, you have Russ as a placeholder. And, it seems, Pete Carroll's trying to win right now. He's 74 years old.
Yeah.
He's 2 years away from dying. He wants to try to win immediately. So, he's going to want to get a veteran quarterback. He's going to want to get somebody that can be an impact in the run game.
Stay off that bubblegum, Pete.
Now, maybe what the Raiders do is they take Shedeur with their first pick and then take Omarion Hampton or Scadaboo with their second-round pick.
I could see Shedeur slipping to 6.
Yeah, I could too. Honestly, he should. He's not.
I know you're lower on him.
I'm lower on Shedeur. I think he's more of a late first-round guy than a top 10 caliber talent. But everything around the Raiders says that they love him. So I think if Shedeur's there at 6, he's going to be the pick.
He'll be the pick.
We'll see what happens. But all right, somebody's asking, what about Jalen Milroe? Listen,
he's a Steeler in round 4.
Coop thinks he's going to be a Steeler, and he might. If he makes it to round 4, round 5, I could see them pulling the trigger.
Seems like a Tomlin guy.
He does seem like a Tomlin guy, but he's like Justin Fields light. I think what we did was we put a Diet Coke picture on one of the shows.
We did.
And it was Justin Fields is faster, he's got a stronger arm, he has more NFL experience. Jalen Milroe stinks.
No, he doesn't.
He stinks, dude. And that doesn't mean he can't get better. He can, especially with the VR technology that's coming out. But the accuracy was maybe the worst out of any quarterback at the Senior Bowl this week besides Riley Leonard. All right, it was not good. He was skipping passes against air. Against air!
You want to talk about a brother who stinks? Riley Leonard.
Riley Leonard.
Not good.
Riley Leonard might not even make it to the first preseason game.
Not good.
He's that bad. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's show. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us here. That the mock draft I just recorded will probably go out either Saturday or Sunday. Probably Saturday is probably the day we'll put out our mock drafts every single week. But I appreciate your guys' support. We'll see you guys for the next Steelers Talk Live show next Monday, same time, same place, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't be late. Till next time, here we go, Steelers.
Peace.